Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a very special occasion, purely for your entertainment tonight. We are your hosts, Lionheart, Mike Nikos, and I'm here with
the Executioner, Michael X.
And welcome to Open Mic Night. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another thrilling episode of Open Mic Night. It's long overdue, but hey, better late than never, right? I am here, as always, Lionheart Mike Nikos, joined here with
the Executioner, Michael X, and today we're going to be talking about something that's a little, fucked. And by fucked, I mean an entire... Different. Yeah, but it's an entire community that's fucked. An entire community that's a bunch of fucked up fucking idiots and a bunch of fuck-ups. Yeah, so I'm going to see how many... I'm going to see if I can get 36 fucks in this fucked up, Ryan.
So far, we're on 40.
We'll get there.
I see we doing a little semi-shout-out to Owen with the 36 fucks, huh? Nice.
No, that's
and we're here with a special guest today. Once again...
A special guest referee, if you will.
Yeah, the special guest referee. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back James, the He-Man Hebert.
Yay! I'm back on a show that's on my channel, but I don't run. Yay!
I don't know why you do this. Just fucking do your things.
I do my things, but you guys wanted me on for these fucking videos because I would kind of
because you know a lot about the IWC and how stupid it is.
Oh, you don't know the half of it, my guy. So a lot's happened since the last video we did as well, because that was literally 6 months ago. So
roughly.
It's
roughly 6 months.
A lot's happened since, and so we figured, you know what, we were gonna do a part 2 anyway, but it's actually kind of both a blessing and a curse that we waited as long as we did, because man, has the IWC in many, many ways since reared its ugly fucking head. I mean, it's
mostly
bad.
The reason why we did the first part of the video was because insert company here, doesn't matter what company it is, was getting a lot of shit for no apparent reason, and we wanted to show people how fucking terrible are the fans. How terrible could this get? And it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
And since our last video generated an amount of views of how people really took interest in the topic, we figured we'd explain more in depth about the toxicity of the IWC of any wrestling promotion. It doesn't have to be in AEW or WWE or Impact. It can be anything in anywhere.
Yeah.
And we've got proof of just how rearing its ugly head shows when we have to observe it.
I mean,
we've remained silent about it for so long, but it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And they all managed to follow up with the 3 T's: tribalism, toxicity, and tribal chef.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came in, but
tribal chef. I forgot that was part 1.
But hey, that's how toxic things can be, because people don't know when to contain their hatred and they decide to vent it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes they try to shove it down your throat to make you understand their point of view, when in reality, no one cares about your point of view because it fucking sucks, you dumb mark.
Yeah, well, I mean, even then, it's it's not even just the fact that, we're talking all this crud about the IWC for no reason. It's now gotten to a point where if anybody has a different opinion, and it's not even that toxic, they will get shit on for having that different opinion. It's disgusting. Like, I like, here's a great example of this. I think we've talked about this off air, but how the fucking community has just completely disregarded Booker T. And basically just saying, well, he's a corporate shill, when you take... All you'd have to do is take one look at his entire channel on the Reality Wrestling channel, which is where he does his podcast on. And he has nothing but positive about the industry-wide. He talked about NWA, was positive about it. Talked about AEW, was positive about it. He talked about Impact at one point. He was positive about that. He's genuinely positive. In some cases, probably too positive in some people's minds. He was too positive about the industry, and that was his greatest sin, so they fucking shit on him for being a corporate shill for WWE, even though it's an industry-wide thing. I think the thing that pisses me off about it, with how they treat Booker, is they will take any negative comment that he said. Any negative comment.
And roll with it.
And roll with it.
They'll roll with it.
It's fucked. Like, now granted, did he fucking go and practically almost, challenge Punk to a debate on his podcast because he was calling guys with podcast old heads, like old guys that were in the industry with podcast old heads? Yeah. Which, in and of itself, Twitter is a fucking nightmare. I mean, I totally get why Punk said what he said, because Eric Bischoff does say a lot of outlandish bullshit, but Booker T kind of took offense because Punk his issue was, and nobody took this fucking quote in any of the articles they wrote about it. They just wanted to fucking look at Booker T. He's being angry again. But nobody took the quote where he said, when Punk said that statement on Twitter, it was a generalization. Not a single fucking person took that quote. Not one. Which, you want to talk about toxic. Like, these are supposed to be quote-unquote reputable news sources. You can't even fucking represent one of your industry guys in a somewhat positive light and actually quote his fucking entire thing. Instead,
no,
Booker's the bad guy again.
It's too difficult, too much time and effort to think positively, because we have to be the old critics that just take a grain of salt and give no care to anything. That's how much we've the past few years on these podcasts.
Yeah, it's fucked, man.
That's the thing. We're we as a group of people on this part of the internet have tried for years at this point to try to show the alternative side of professional wrestling. There was a lot of good. There is a lot of good.
Which we are going to still try at the second half of this too. There is a lot of good communities. We were even talking about it. It's do they even want to be, I think, Mike, you and I had a conversation. It's should we even include them in the IWC? And my answer to that was, well, anybody with an internet connection and has a knowledge or a fandom of wrestling, is going to be, just by default, be a part of the IWC. That doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing,
but it has such a stigma around it,
right?
Because of certain individuals that are a part of it, which, you can name anybody, let's be honest.
Right, exactly, yeah. Prior, I remember before, it is technically a three-parter, because we neglect to mention that after that dropped, that went live, we released a taped podcast Nikos and I did on Corny Boy, which I'm not going to spend time, talking about what we talked about there. If you want to see it for yourself, I'll put an iCard here. But
it's a video, so just bear that in mind.
Yeah, it's a very long video, but it's picking his arguments apart, because it's you know, what happened to the fucking guy who said, hey, you can have your chocolate as long as I can have my vanilla? You know, there's the same guy that's shitting all over pro wrestling now. You know, and then in the same vein, you got a guy like Eric Bischoff. And I talked about this on Jeff's open mic night. And my exact point was, I love how Eric Bischoff is saying that AEW is not as good as it could be, and that CM Punk is such a financial flop. Yet, every business metric since he's been around is still up and breaking records, still to this day. And the only thing that hasn't improved and has decreased is the Nielsen rating. To which I said, you're going by Nielsen. You want to tell me if you have Hulu numbers and Sling TV numbers and YouTube TV numbers for Dynamite every week? No? Then sit down and shut the fuck up, Bischoff. I mean, that's another thing. They'll go off of one fucking thing and then just run with it, even if they are reasonably and inherently wrong. A lot of these fucking podcasters.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm surprised Bischoff is still assuming the rating from Nielsen, because it doesn't shock me that he does use it, because he's been using the Nielsen rating comparison since the Monday Night Wars.
But yeah, and that was the Monday Night Wars. It's 2022. It's not 1998 anymore. Who the fuck owns a Nielsen box nowadays? Seriously, who owns a Nielsen box? If you're old, you own a Nielsen box. That's it, and that's not a disrespect to old people, by the way. Like, you have a Nielsen box because that's what you grew up with, and you have maintained the box or whatever. Not a lot of people have a Nielsen box.
Didn't Family Guy like 10 years ago do a fucking joke about the Nielsen box and how, like, it is such a crock of shit?
Yes.
Yeah, they did. They did a parody on it.
Dude, it is not a fucking surefire way to tell if ratings are good. Now, right, here's the thing. There's so much entertainment and there's so many ways. I think it's funny that Noah brought this up on the Wrestling Rundown crossover we did this week. He literally brought up there are so many ways to watch content, and there's so many different pieces of content to watch, that going by the Nielsen rating is like totally obsolete at this point, because there's so many ways to watch it.
That is the little speck of water in a giant fucking pond,
right,
of content. It's crazy.
Exactly. You know, and I think people don't realize, like, how asinine that argument is. That's why I just don't even pay attention to the fucking ratings anymore, because they're a crock of shit. They always have been a crock of shit. I mean, we literally looked up an average rating that is probably more accurate with AEW, and domestically in this country, you know, it's at least 3 million people, 3.5 million people watching AEW every week, and that's just in this country. And that's with all the streaming assets that I just mentioned combined. You add that with the fucking worldwide viewership, they're easily doing 7 to 8 million people every week. And you could look this up for yourself. You can look up the average fucking rankings yourself on how many views they're probably actually doing that don't require just Nielsen. I mean, that's added with the Fast Nationals, that's added with the fucking streaming numbers, that's added with potential bootleg. You know, it's like there's no surefire one way to tell what the rating for something is going to be, which is why when the Nielsen rating is so good, when Nielsen boxes are not nearly as prevalent, that there's a reason why TNT is saying, wow, this shit's doing really well. Put this shit and bump that. You know what I mean? Because they are. Realistically, they are. And they have more of the fucking data, statistically, than we ever will. So what's the fucking point of talking about it? What is the point of fucking talking about this shit, Bischoff? I don't understand why you still bring this up when you have been told multiple times by your own co-host and Conrad Thompson, this is a crock of shit and it don't matter.
Like, stop trying to, like, recreate the Monday Night Wars. And, like, it's not even much of a war anymore. It's just like a one-sided battle. We've seen it before. It's, like, you think that it's going to be different.
Right.
If you imagine, like, AEW is going to be like the next WCW when it is leagues above it based from this past week.
Well, their weakest division currently is the women's division.
And even that they're improving on. I mean, it's funny because even though it's the weakest division, it's stronger than WCW's ever was, booking-wise. Even with the problems they have. I think that's what it comes down to. His product sucked compared to what Tony's putting out there. That's what it looks like to somebody who's an outsider looking in, that has not watched WCW, that literally it came into wrestling watching AEW, or were a lapsed fan that did watch WCW and is watching AEW now and enjoying it infinitely more than WCW. I think that's where this all stems from. I think he's just jealous that Tony's doing better. And you know.
Going off a point from Eric Bischoff, I want to move back to Jim Cornette for a second.
Go for it.
How like the toxicity of like former bookers kind of show the rise of how their jealousy, because like by watching the current products of current like wrestling shows like Impact, AEW, New Japan, there's this sense of jealousy that's rising behind their voice. Like, for instance, in the recent episode of AEW regarding the MJF pipe bomb, you hear Jim Cornette talking about how, like, the method of the shoot promo and how this is caused because of terrible booking. And he still, for some reason, calls Tony Khan the worst booker of wrestling ever. And I'm sitting there going, now, wait a second. I'm not saying that Tony Khan's a genius when it comes to booking. Sometimes there are some hiccups, but I wouldn't just degrade him saying that he's the worst of them all.
Hell no.
I mean, by saying that there's a booker that's like the worst of the worst, that implies that it shows for your wrestling company if it's still active. Speaking of which, Cornette, how's Smoking Around Mountain Wrestling doing these days?
Yep. Oh,
and if you are not consistent with your booking, and if you believe, like, I'm not saying that he's false in the mind here. Like, Jim Cornette can say all he wants, whether he says that Tony Khan's the worst booker ever. But if his booking is actually having
has not been relevant. No, hold on, Nikos. Jim Cornette has not been relevant when it comes to the concept of booking since 2009.
No.
Oh, true. And
that's when he was a part of. That's when he was a part of Tits and Ass.
Well, no, that he was a part of Tits and Ass before that. He was in Ring of Honor during that time, and it went nowhere when he was the booker.
But all I'm saying is, if you're gonna call someone out for saying that they're just a terrible booker because for the sake of, oh, their booking is terrible, they're not like me, they're not like how I would have booked it. Well, you're not the one booking it, and if you were the one to book it, well, dare I ask you to take a look at some of the worst bits of the Ruthless Aggression era. I'm sure that no one wants to go back to that era again, even though it had some pretty good wrestling, but the gimmicks were just god-awful. But it's just the matter of the fact that people can book these shows however they want to if the people are behind it. You don't want to bore the audience to tears. And if you say that people are terrible as bookers, like how Jim says about Tony Khan that he's just a terrible booker because he's a kid. He doesn't have much experience. Well,
neither did
people are behind him.
Jim.
Neither did Jim when he first started.
Yeah, neither did Jim.
So
no one can be perfect with this shit. And just calling him out saying that you're terrible, well, that's your opinion. But
if it was terrible, it wouldn't have
bully the
lasted.
person.
It wouldn't have lasted 3 years and made billions of dollars.
Yeah, and by the way, if they were doing so bad, if they were doing so terrible in the ratings, then explain why. As I said, explain why every other metric is up business wise, where they're making hand over fist in money. Now, yes, everybody is gonna point out instantly, well, they're in the red right now. Hey, do you know that there's a fucking video game in development that costs a lot of fucking money that will be an investment in the long run? Or are you just conveniently leaving that fact out because it fits your narrative that AEW is not doing well financially?
No,
just
James,
curious.
They're still believing that AEW can't get 1 million viewers. Which doesn't make quite sense because their AEW YouTube channel has over 3 million subscribers. So I don't see how they're not making 1 million views a week.
It's just that alone. That alone, too. It's like people are wanting wrestling to... I feel like they're wanting any wrestling that isn't the WWE to fail. Because then that...
Which hurts the business.
Exactly, and either this is the bottom line. Either you want to, have the industry fail, and you want other wrestling companies to fail because your company failed, and it would justify why your company failed, or you're a fan of the WWE and that's all you've ever known, and there's really no in between on that spectrum there. There really isn't. And I don't find wishing the worst of AEW is the best way to fucking go about this. It really isn't.
It's not the attitude already.
No, it's not.
You want as many wrestling companies to exist so that way you have content to watch, shit to do.
Yeah. Especially in the advent of streaming. I mean, are you kidding me? If you don't have fucking wrestling content that's streamable, chances are you're not going to fucking succeed. Like, Deadlock Pro is the best indie promotion going because they have a fucking on-demand deal. And they're making a shit ton off the on-demand deal. So that's why they were able to bring in some of the names they brought in from AEW or from Impact or from Stardom. It's without streaming, they don't have those names. And if they're doing well, the industry does well because that means another piece of content for the wrestling industry to consume.
Not to mention the loyal fan base that loves the company for what it is and not for what they want it to be.
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head here. AEW is a buffet of wrestling. They give something for everyone. If you're an old school fan, you got your old school. If you are a new school fan, you got your new school. If you're somewhere in between, chances are you're going to get a match that resembles that. If you like Lucha Libre, you got that. If you like comedy wrestling, you got that. If you like strong style, you're going to get a hard-hitting affair. You'll get that. There's not one piece of wrestling that I have seen from AEW that didn't represent something to do with wrestling. Because unlike Jim, I don't have this fucking narrow mind. And look, we can say all we want about how toxic Dave Meltzer is on Twitter. And yes, absolutely he is on Twitter. But there was one tweet that Dave mentioned that I think fucking summed it up perfectly. Thank God I didn't have such a clouded mindset to not discover Lucha Libre, because if I had that happen, I'd probably be where Jim Cornette is right now and not accepting of any other style. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, And say what you will about Dave, but I don't think Meltzer has had as much fun as he's had with wrestling ever than he's had right now. Even during the Monday Night Wars, he was fucking he was a miserable piece of shit during the Monday Night Wars. I don't think a lot of people realize how bad Dave Meltzer was during the Monday Night Wars. He always shit on everything, even the New Japan stuff, because New Japan had its fucking issues. He hated, the Monday Night Wars a lot of the time, and recently, he's been a lot more positive with wrestling. He's been a lot more positive about the WWE side, which surprised me. So, like, the fact that he's been more positive about the industry, I think is like, you know what? If Dave can do it, I think the rest can do it. You know? I mean, yeah, is he always going to cheerlead for the Bucks and Omega? Yeah, absolutely, probably. And in some cases, that's like,
yeah, but this that's the problem with fucking Cornette, is that he's not seeing the obvious fucking thing that's there. They're the best wrestlers in the goddamn world.
Right.
That isn't a metric. I don't have any facts to fucking back that up. But what I do have is audience reaction. And every match that they've ever done, the crowd fucking lights up.
Including, by the way, the very match that he actually liked with the Young Bucks, which involved FTR, which was a fucking classic. And that happened, what, a month ago already? And it already feels like a lifetime ago because he went back to hating on their ass because, oh, well, it's not FTR, so I don't care. The FTR carried them. No. It takes two to tango. Let's get that fucking out of that. Let's get that narrative that this guy carried that guy out of here, because that's not how that happened. Yeah, I don't know. It's not even just Cornette and Bischoff. It's so many fucking guys that just, like, I appreciate when Kurt Angle is still a fan of wrestling and is like, I wish I could have had a match with Kenny Omega. You know, I'd much rather that than, you know, and even if you're not the biggest fan of Kenny Omega, like, isn't it refreshing to hear somebody say something positive about Omega instead of some old guy being like, he didn't draw a dime, or whatever the fuck, like he's, you know, the second coming of Jeff Jarrett every week. You know, I'd much rather that. Seriously.
It's better to be positive, and as a wrestling fan, you should comment on how, oh man, I'm a fan of wrestling. Oh, I wish I could have wrestled these guys. I feel like we could have gone toe-to-toe. Rather than just say, oh, I think your booking sucks. I could have done it better because I owned a wrestling company at one point.
Yeah.
And you didn't do fucking great on that either, did you? What makes you think you do better on this one?
There's very few times I've been angry at AEW, and it's usually because it did harm a group of individuals, or they were just unsafe. Like, that's about the only time I've gotten mad at AEW, and since then they've, you know, corrected their mistakes anyway. You know, because it's like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like it, just move on. Like, I'm sick of this whole idea. I'm 26 years old, and I feel like I'm fucking, at one point I felt like I was fucking 40. Because I was so stressed out about the wrestling, you know, not going a certain way. And I'm like, why am I worried about this? Like, wrestling's going to be around now, probably more, that's probably a more surefire answer than it was a couple years ago. Because there's so much of it out there now. Why do I care that much? And if I want to book my own thing, I can book my own thing, and we have booked our own thing. So, why should I give a shit? Why should anybody give a shit? Like, it's not that fucking personal. It's just, it's wrestling. You know, big fucking deal. You know, like, there's enough in wrestling to not always get fucking angry about. You know? I think I get angry at people that get angry with wrestling because it's like, why are you watching it then? Why are you fucking watching wrestling if all you're gonna do is get pissy every fucking chance you get? You know? Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's usually that mentality of, I'm having fun, therefore you should too. But sometimes in their case, it's not their style. And sometimes you have to take a moment and say, that's all right. If it's not their style, don't push it on them. If they think they suck, okay, that's their opinion. Don't get in an argument. Not everyone has to be behind you.
Take notes, AEW loyalists.
Just let them do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shove this down their throats, unlike some other wrestling companies.
Like, if you, like, I understand if you're living in the moment. Like, there was a couple times where I was like, I called Mike, right? And it's like, dude, you gotta watch this. This is fucking insane, like, what I just watched. I think I did that with the MJF thing, right? The fucking pipe bomb he cut. That's one thing. But if it's not their style, and you know it's not their style, and you're doing everything you can to try to force it on them, like, fucking Cornette, he's stubborn. But I feel like Meltzer's more stubborn, because he's trying to get Cornette to change your opinion when that will never happen. And the day that happens is when hell freezes over. But he's still trying. And it's like, bro, you're not gonna convince him, so just let it go. Like, your friendship with him is over. It sucks, because it really shouldn't have to be that way, but, like, you're not gonna fucking get him to change his mind by forcing it on him. Which is where I think Meltzer Meltzer kind of perpetuates that culture of, like, this has to be good, so therefore I have to be validated. And he's not the only one. There's plenty of people who are fucking guilty of that. But, like, the whole loyalist mentality towards AEW, because it swings both ways. It's so fucking toxic either way you look at it. Like, just because their shit's good does not mean the other people have to fucking watch.
Agreed.
Nor do they even have the fucking time. Like, there's only so many hours in a day. So, you know, there's that too. So, I don't know. It's kind of how I see it, but I don't know.
It's just common sense that you should be able to agree to disagree, and no one gets hurt from it.
Your thoughts on on it, Mike?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'll say. The issue that I have with that mindset is, you as a wrestling fan, you want to get people into professional wrestling. If it's some of it's not their cup of tea, some of it is. You know, some people like really serious shit, some people like really goofy. Super serious would be like control your fucking narrative, which I think kind of takes a lot of the fun out personally.
Right.
And misses the point. But again, that's me personally.
Well, I mean, really good serious shit could also be like Lucha Underground or something like that. Like the first season of Lucha Underground.
Yeah, but like after the first season, it's like, okay, yeah, sure,
Right. No, for real.
Okay.
Yeah. But, you know, like, no, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. For sure.
Again, but like the major problem that I have, and this is just me, is I won't name names because I'm not that type of guy, but there are individuals that will be like, I fucking hate this individual and will never clarify why.
Yeah, right. Oh, man.
Never clarify why. It would just be, I don't like them. Yeah, but you don't just hate someone because you hate them. You have to have a reason to hate someone.
I legitimately fucking hate Vince McMahon. I don't think that's a secret towards anybody, and I've explained my position as to why I don't like him. You know, but yeah, no, the amount of times I've seen I hate this person, and then they give no justification as to why. Or here's another one, Mike, to kind of go off your point, and then I'll throw it back to you and free ball it back to you. They'll hate the fucking person for a completely unreasonable reason. Like, for something they did on television. and thus that means they hate them forever. Like, I won't say the name here, but I'm gonna mention the scenario. Tony Storm went from WWE to AEW, and somebody, won't say who in our group's little brother, hated him because they went to a different company and got paid more money, and because they were happier. Like, you'll get shit like that, and I was just like, why are you angry at that? Like, I don't understand. What is to be upset about? It's not your career. It's their career. They get to choose whatever the fuck they want to choose. Like, I'm not gonna fucking get angry at Cody because, you know, he felt like he was not valued in AEW, and so he fucking said, you know what, let me go to WWE and do the one thing I couldn't do. I'm not gonna get fucking pissed off at the guy. Like, why would I be pissed off at Cody? Like, that makes no sense.
I mean, I don't think any of us at this point should feel pissed for Cody. I think, if anything, we should all feel proud.
Right.
And respect Cody after the shit that he just did this past Sunday at the Hell in the Cell. I mean, good God.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
I felt uneasy after seeing that bruise. If I was Tony Khan and if I saw Cody having a torn bicep and said, I'm going to fight tonight, if I was Tony, I would have said, no, the fuck you're not. Hell,
I bet you they did.
If you sit at home at the couch.
And by the way, a lot of people are like shitting on WWE like it was WWE's call, but I guarantee with the fucking health protocols they have, I very much doubt that Vince didn't tell him, no, you the fuck you're not. Stay the fuck home. Dude, he had a torn pectoral muscle, and he still went into that match, in a Hell in a Cell match, and wrestled Seth fucking Rollins. He took a fucking buckle bomb through the fucking table. Bad, and it was bad, of course. It was botched as usual. He still fucking
another botched buckle bomb. Who would have guessed that Seth Rollins fucked up a movie he's been doing forever?
But this dude with a torn pec started the match injured and finished the match and looked like, by the way, won the match before he had to go and get fucking surgery, which I believe he did yesterday. So that means that there's no way they're not giving him the title. This motherfucker. Mike, have you seen the pictures online of Cody's pec? It was fucked up.
Dude, I sent the video to the chat like a couple days back.
It was disgusting.
Like, it was as worse as Triple H's torn pectoral.
I think it got worse because fucking Cody, like a fucking madman, told Rollins to stab him with a kendo in that fucking torn pec, and so you could see blood vessels all throughout, and it looked like it was the fucking red veins all throughout his pec. It was the most. It was the grossest shit. Never do it again. Ever, Cody. Like, you don't need to go that fucking far.
But he did went far, and you want to know why? And it's the thing that I despise. It's to make up for the IWC for quote-unquote disappointing them when he was in AEW. I'm sorry. I have to call bullshit on that.
Well, it's not bullshit on Cody's end, but I understand what you mean. It's bullshit.
It's bullshit on the IWC's end.
Yeah, for real. I'm with you there.
It's not like he had one of the best story-driven fucking pay-per-view matches in wrestling history.
Yeah.
With his brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucked, man. It really is fucked up.
It's really bizarre that the same IWC that cheered on him during the feud with him and his brother, and then would later boo him out to the point where he had to eventually switch out to WWE.
Which, let's not forget, the whole reason they booed him apparently was because he cut a promo about America and shit all over Anthony Ogogo, trashing on America, and explained that he had a beautiful baby girl coming into the world that had the mix of both races, and that was deemed offensive.
But no, here, let me.
Adrenaline in the soul, they wanted him to go.
But no, let me just tore my pectoral muscle and just bleed everywhere just to show my love for you people.
Yeah.
Which he has.
Cody, I'm going to just say, Cody, you're
not.
Cody, you're not your dad. Do not give your fucking body for this company. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
If you wanna continue working just to get the belt, fine, you can take the belt, but don't.
I think he's gonna get that. There's no way he's not getting the belt now after that.
I hope he gets the strap and then fucking loses.
That's what I'm hoping for too. I really hope he just fucking does the same shit that Medusa did, and just dip with the belt.
No,
Hell,
he has too much. He has too much respect for Dusty's legacy to do that, and he has too much respect for fucking Vince.
Why his dad never fucking held the title?
I know he never held the title, but the whole idea is that he was gonna win it and hold it and have a whole defense line in honor of his father. I doubt he's gonna
at least take the belt.
Do a Shane Douglas and disrespect that whole legacy. You know what I mean?
At least take the belt, go back to AEW, and give the belt to Dustin.
Well, he's gonna give it to Dusty.
He deserves it.
Yeah,
I feel like
he's gonna give it to Dusty's chair. That's the idea. Is that he's gonna win the belt and then he's gonna put it on Dusty's chair and.
Oh no, he's not putting it on Dusty's chair. He's just gonna give it to Dustin. You know, the natural Dustin Rhodes. Something of which he also was robbed of.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Dustin and hold the belt for sure, but you know, I doubt he'll actually fucking get rid of the belt and then send it. Like it's too. At that point, you're just breaking all sorts of fucking laws there. There's too many laws in place now that would never happen. Like that was a one and done thing with Medusa. But yeah, that's another thing too. It's like I don't like how the company does business, like, and just how they treat their employees. I don't think that's been a secret, but I don't hate the workers, and like I don't like. I never understood the idea of. If somebody leaves the WWE to go to AEW, that you should automatically hate them and shit all over their fucking Cheerios. Like Tony Storm was just an example, but like I've seen people shit on Keith Lee and Isaiah Scott, or now known as Swerve Strickland in NXT or AEW rather. I've seen people shit all over the people that have come from WWE to AEW. Any way they could, and I'm just over here like, guys, what's the fucking point of this? Can we be honest with ourselves right now? What is the point of this? Why are we? The workers are doing good. I think Samoa Joe said it best. It's like, there's this perceived war about WWE and AEW, when in reality you should be fucking happy for the workers. Doing it, like, you should be fighting for the workers, not the fucking companies. That a fucking men. He's the only one with the fucking logical sense in this entire community to fucking come out with something that was legitimate. I mean, nobody will fucking listen, but he's right. It should be about the workers and not about the fucking company, because the workers are what fucking put the asses in the seats. So
without your workers, there is no company.
Exactly. So again, like, what is the point of shitting all over, people that are going from one company to another? Let them do their thing and, make money. Like, everybody's shitting on Adam Shearer, the former Braun Strowman, because he joined that Control Your Narrative. Even though, by the way, I think he already saw that flopped. He's already doing other fucking things. I want to see that dude succeed. Yeah, he said the fucking dumbest fuck comments he made himself about the fucking company, People, when the pandemic was going on and that, you know, he was also fucking privileged. I think he's been humbled. I don't think he needs to be punished any further. So let's see what he can do, because the dude's fucking way too talented not to fucking do something in the industry. I don't want Braun Strowman to fucking fail. Because then that's a bad thing.
Oh, he's so...
Then, you know?
Bro, he's so strong. Do you remember that time that he lifted that 16-wheeler and should have won every title in about a week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that he's outside of the walls of the Fed, too, because then it's not... we could get a more serious side of fucking Adam Shearer. We don't have to get this cartoonish fucking version of the guy that fucking did that crazy shit you just mentioned. Like, I'm curious to see what Braun Strowman could do. You know, I made the pitch that if Wyatt doesn't want to go to WWE and he were to go to AEW, what you could do with him. I pitched an idea of kind of doing a brood. Or not a brood, but a ministry type stable where he brings in his former Wyatt family. He brings in Adam Shearer and Eric Redbeard as his heavies.
Two of them if it's a bottle.
You know, he brings in the House of Black as like his brood, and he brings in the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny as like his tag team as well. And then there you go. And then you could, if you wanted to add like one more heavy in there to make the fucking Wyatt family aspect complete, add Lance Archer and Jake the Snake. Like, that would be fucking outstanding. I would be like, yeah, do that. You know, but...
Fuck, I'm gonna say it. Hell, add Bray Wyatt to that list, too.
I just said Bray. Bray's the person leading it.
I mean, sorry, I didn't hear you for a second, but if I was Bray, any rumor that was spoiled out saying that he should go back to WWE...
Yeah,
for
exactly.
What reason? Like, for what reason?
Yeah, the company company treated him like shit. Why would he want to go back?
They only used him for like merchandising.
The only way I would be okay with Bray Wyatt ever going back there is if he's going to be treated with the utmost respect and actually be valued, which is never going to happen. Like,
he's had 4 fucking gimmick changes
in the span of fucking what, a decade?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have him go through that fucking nightmarish headache again and be fucking miserable. I'd rather him go to a place that would accept his creativity. You know? And if maybe that's not wrestling. Maybe he goes to Hollywood and does that shit or something. Maybe he just fucking... Let him do what he wants to do. You know, if he, like, at the end of the day, if he chooses to go back to the WWE and he's content with the fucking money and he, you know, he gets a few titles here and there as when he goes back to them, whatever. If he goes to AEW and he's allowed to be creatively free and win a couple more titles there, more power to him. Cool. I'm happy for the fucking worker, Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda at the end of the day. I'm not fucking, you know, that's just it. And by the way, that's not to say I'm not happy for other company owners doing well. You know, if they do well, that's great. But I'm more concerned about the worker that's helping a company and that has a valuable, asset to bring. You know, they're entertaining us. They're putting their body on the line for our entertainment. I'm going to naturally give a shit more about the worker than I am about, you know, the company owner in a lot of cases. You know, that doesn't mean every company owner is a pile of shit either, which I think is another fucking IWC trope that needs to fucking be put to bed. Every company owner sucks. Everything they ever did sucks. So therefore, we must hate them every fucking minute. Like, yeah, Bischoff's takes are fucking shit, but it wasn't his fault WCW went under. That was all Turner. that was all Turner back in the day. That was all the fucking Jamie Kellner and all those fucking morons running that company to the ground, even at the height of its popularity, because they were sick of WCW after Bill Watts. There was nothing Bischoff could have done that would have mitigated that from happening. they were dead on arrival no matter what they did.
And as someone who's seen like the rise and fall of WCW documentary, I can attest to that was like the true decline of what was going on with that company.
I mean,
like you can't put the full
started
blame.
in '97. That fucking he heard rumblings about it in '96 when they created the NWO, so he knew that the writing was on the wall. It was inevitable that they were going to be out of business. Which is why he tried to buy WCW outright from Turner, so that way, you know, he wasn't, it wouldn't die. You know, Bischoff never owned the company. Which, by the way, this kind of goes back to criticizing Bischoff and his take on Tony Khan. Tony never said you were to blame ever in any of his fucking statements as to why WCW made mistakes. Nor did he say that was Ted Turner. You know, he never blamed Ted, and he never blamed you. So why are you getting offended, Bischoff? Anybody with any knowledge of the industry and what actually happened to WCW would know that it wasn't your fault. So why are you getting offended? I will never understand why he's getting that pissed off when he didn't even, because he's not even putting that into fucking context. He's just like, oh, fuck this. This guy's talking shit. I'm going to fire back. And then I'm going to challenge him on my podcast because, you know, you said some outlandish shit saying Punk was a financial flop when Tony proved every fucking statistical fact. Oh, and not to mention, by the way, when he said that's fucking bullshit and got it offended, he was also, I don't know, drunk? Tony was like fucking hammered. he was fucking gone during that press conference, which I don't think a lot of people noticed. He was fucking gone. So,
oh yeah, I mean, you don't say that when you're sober. I'm just saying.
Well, you don't say it in that regard. Usually Tony is a lot more tame. That's how you could tell he was completely fucking gone. He never gets out of line like that ever. And
he is so drunk.
But even then, Tony literally straight up said it's bullshit. This guy has been he's literally broken every single record we've ever had. Yeah, he's broken every ratings record. Yes, he's Nielsen, he hasn't broken every ratings record. He's still one of the highest rated segments in the history of the company. And by the way, it's funny that Bischoff said he was such a financial flop and a ratings flop. But even just going by Nielsen's minute by minute, Punk was the number one draw, right behind MJF.
Like,
so,
I've never seen anything on YouTube that the first two videos that were trending was about CM Punk and AEW.
Yep, exactly.
Like the first two videos that were trending on YouTube back in August was, the first one was when Punk's return, and the second one was his in-ring speech.
Exactly.
Like, I've never seen any other wrestling company trending that big before.
Well, I mean, not to mention he's still the number one seller on Pro Wrestling Tees / AEW shop. He's still, you know, he's still pulling in every pay-per-view cycle has been up, like, multiple times, like, by a good couple, we're talking by, like, a range of 60,000 to 80,000 buys on average. So, like, he's boomed that business. He has boomed AEW in a big way. So, you know, we're talking before WWE went to the network full time, they were on the level of WWE pay-per-view. That's how much he improved that business. You know, so, like, obviously he's doing something right. And I don't think he's as big of a financial flop as Bischoff's saying he is. But in the same token, I think he thinks that Tony said that the company failed under quote-unquote his leadership when he never ever said that. He never said that. And I looked to see if he mentioned Bischoff by name. Not once did he mention Bischoff by name. He never once mentioned them. But he took offense. Because that's what Bischoff does. So, whatever, I guess.
Oh, I just want to, start a war again. Since I created the Monday Night War, I want to do it again with AEW. Like, dude,
And he said, there was one quote he said that he's like, most of the criticisms I have are out of concern. It's like, because I want AEW to outperform WWE. So to your point, Nikos, it's almost like he does want another fucking war. Which, honestly, I'm good. I just want to enjoy my wrestling. I don't want another fucking corporate fucking war between two wrestling companies. Because we saw how that happened. I mean, that's another thing. That's another thing. Omega had a great point, too, because he talked about, well, yeah, it was a great business period for 3 years. Then look what happened to WCW, and then look what happened to the industry after that. He's right.
Like, if
he's right.
If you people want to instigate a war, it's not going to be good. Sure, they'll say that, in the coming days, AEW will dominate. But when they're running out of steam in, like, year 5, I'm guessing, they're more likely to switch channels because of how toxic competitive the competitive nature is. Even Vince McMahon thrives off competitivism because he's been doing it since he was a fucking kid. And it's not usually a good business strategy. It's not fuel for the IW. Nowadays, no.
I'll tell you exactly why. Nobody wants to deal with petty, argumentative bullshit anymore. They got enough of that on the news, and they've got enough of that in their daily fucking life. They don't need it when they are trying to go and watch professional wrestling and try to escape that bullshit. They use it to escape it. Nobody wants to go and watch it to then see it all over again because they have a feud with another company. Fair to say that's accurate?
Like, just recently, I've been seeing some stuff online where, WWE is angry at Tony Khan because, he's been buying out the arenas where WWE originally was supposed to host their Money in the Bank. And Tony's just saying, it's so nice to be in these new venues and stuff. And WWE was like, fuck you. That should have been our venue. Like, guys, there's no need for this type of hostility. Like, dude, I don't see this as competitiveness. I just see that as WWE failed to buy in the tickets for that building for Money in the Bank, so they had to move someplace else. The fact that Tony Khan got that area is, all right, well, they're not using it anymore, so I guess we can use it. It has nothing to do with competitiveness. It's just the fact that one failed to buy it out,
right?
So it's open. It's literally open season. It's got nothing to do with competitive nature. It's just the fact that
Tony is not even trying. Tony has said multiple times he is not trying to compete with the WWE. He's just trying to be an alternative. He's said that I don't even know how many times.
But of course, you got the WWE smarks telling people that they're trying to be competitive nature because currently AEW is nearing the top.
I'm telling you right now, nobody wants them to compete with WWE because the minute they're going to try to compete with WWE, even if AEW was outdoing WWE in every metric, including ratings, which by the way, if they actually add all the streaming numbers that I fucking mentioned, statistically they probably are. But let's pretend they're not right now and just go by what we know. I still don't want them to compete with WWE, even if they're doing well in the ratings. Because that means then they're going to try to outdo whatever the fuck WWE is doing, or vice versa. And by the way, WWE has tried to outdo AEW by doing AEW stuff, and look at where it's fucking gotten them. All they've done is just chase more people off. Because nobody wants to deal with that horse shit.
Were gone. their employees are gone, and just right now, I looked it up. They're planning on firing more people from NXT.
Not even just company, not even just people they're firing, not even just from the top and employees, Nikos, just fans in general fucking fucked off from the company. Just because of what they're trying to do to compete with AEW on TV. Nobody wants you to compete with AEW. We want you to improve on your fucking product. Get the fucking hint. That's what they're saying. But they're interpreting it as they want to be like AEW. Nobody's saying we want you to be like AEW, you morons. Nobody is saying that.
Just be the best company that you can be.
Right. Do the best with what you have. Stop worrying about...
let's be honest, isn't a fucking lie.
Right. So, like, fucking build on what you have and just please the core audience you have. It's so... I don't understand how hard that is. Like, honest to God. AEW's doing that. Why did he get shit for it?
Dude, have you ever seen a kid play with a Band-Aid? You ever seen a kid get a cut and then play with a Band-Aid?
Yeah.
They complain every single time they keep peeling it, they go, it hurts. Why does it hurt? It's like, then stop peeling it, dumbass.
Yeah, exactly. Truth. Amen. And you know what? I don't think we need to even bring up anything else because I think we encapsulated where this all stems from. I think we got to the root of the problem.
I think that but to be honest, the major issue that is there from the IWC specifically, and this is why I tell anybody, they go, "Oh, dude, you must be a member of the IWC." I go, "Fuck, no, I'm not." And why that stigma exists is because they're the loudest group of people.
Well, apparently, statistically, the third loudest. So we're on list of being a toxic community. Yeah. But continue.
When it comes to wrestling, they're pretty fucking...
Yep.
And I don't even get it. Like, I will never understand why. Why would you want the same product in two different companies? Exactly. That doesn't even make sense. Why would I want to watch... You know, this would be a great example. Why would I want to watch a Marvel movie and then watch a DC thing and complain that DC's not doing what Marvel's doing? I don't want that.
I want DC to do what DC does, and I want Marvel to do what Marvel does. I don't want the same shit. I don't give a fuck about your cinematic universe. I really don't care. That's great. They did it. That's awesome. Does DC need one? No, not really. I don't think that they do. If they make one, great. But with what's going on with that specifically, it's fucking like, I can't. I can't, dude. I didn't even want to watch the new Doctor Strange movie because of that shit. I'm going to be honest. All right.
I will be 100% when I say this. I did not want to watch the newest Doctor Strange movie for the fact that I had to watch a whole bunch of other shit in order to understand what the fuck I'm watching.
Yeah.
Sorry, that makes me not want to watch it.
Which apparently is which is another common complaint about AEW. Which, in the interest of fairness, I kind of agree with that because I know what everything means because I know ins and outs of wrestling, but a casual might not. So they might just tune it off after Punk and MJF. And I think that, you know what was so great about WCW? Do you guys remember when they were doing like those cruiserweight videos way back in the day? Like when they were like explaining the history of Lucha Libre and the history of the Dragon, the Ultimo Dragon, and the history of Eddie Guerrero and the history of Rey Mysterio and the Mysterio family, like, and they educated the fan base, which got them more reactions. You know what I mean? I wish AEW would do more of that. because I think that would help the entire like product presentation in general, because then you're explaining who these people are, then people know. You know what I mean? Because if they're trying to get, I think that's the simplest thing they could do if they're trying to get new fans in. All they have to do is, hey, here's the history, and then boom. I think that would mitigate a lot of that damage too. So in fairness, I'm not, as I said, we're not saying AEW is perfect, but that would help a lot, I think.
I mean, they now own the archive footages of like wrestlers from Ring of Honor. They could just showcase on that for third hour.
Not even just that. I mean, they're in working relationships with, you know, New Japan and, you know, PWG, because fucking Excalibur still runs that, you know, ship over there. You know, they got DDT that they can go back to. You know, like Konosuke Takeshita. Had no idea who he was, right? No fucking clue. I saw one match and I loved his match. It doesn't take much for me to enjoy somebody, you know? Like, Konosuke fucking ruled, right? But still don't know that much about him. Even with the stuff that I looked up about him and the stuff I was told, don't know much about him. I would love to know more about Konosuke and his history in DDT. You know, I'd love to know more about, you know, and I'm sure if I'm a super casual, like, I'll just pretend I am, I'm sure somebody that doesn't know much about Kenny Omega would love to know the history of Kenny Omega. You know, expand on that a bit.
Hopefully that history isn't told to them by Jim Cornette. He fucking wrestled a blow-up doll, and that's it. That's all he's famous for, is that he fucking wrestled.
Yeah, exactly.
He wrestled a child. It's like, no, he had some of the greatest matches in the world with Kota Ibushi,
Okada, Shingo Takagi, what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? I've seen him on, who's the Stone Pitbull again? In New Japan?
Oh, God.
I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. That's a bad dude.
Then
my memory is all fucked.
Regardless,
I've said his name before. Many times, actually. Go ahead, Nikos.
Well, regardless, like, he's gone against Will Ospreay, fucking Bryan Danielson, and Jon Moxley, and even then, he wasn't even at full 100%. The guy was injured, like, for most of those matches, and he still pulled out, like, 6-star bangers.
Yeah, exactly. By the way,
but
it's Tomohiro Ishii. That's his name. Sorry.
But we gotta criticize him on the fact that he wrestled a fucking blow-up doll and wrestled a child.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's another thing, is, like, I remember when, you remember, here's a great example of what AEW was doing to educate their audience in the beginning. Do you remember when Cody was in the company and he was doing, like, these sit-down interviews with people in the industry? Like, he did one, ironically, with Jimmy Havoc. He did another one with MJF. And, like, he did, I think, one with Britt Baker, right? Like, he was educating, they were educating the fans about the wrestlers. You know, even just the little things, like when Taz would go over moves and why certain moves are, like, devastating. Like he did like Taz move breakdown, where he would break down the move and why it would be destructive, you know what I mean, and why it would hurt. I wish they would do more with that, because so far, and this is the truth, the only person that we truly know any background about is MJF. And genuinely speaking, everything that we need to know about the MJF character, we know. We know how he started, we know how he grew in the industry, and we know everything in between to where he is now. I can't say the same thing about guys like Konosuke or Kingston even. You know, I can't say that about Kingston. I can't say that about, like, unless, like, former WWE guys I know. But even then, if there are wrestling fans that have never seen Jon Moxley, they might not even know who the fuck he is. I think that would help an incredible amount for AEW. It's just Just a little touch. I'm not going to fucking complain, though, obsessively if they don't fucking do it, because I understand that they don't necessarily have to, because they're doing fine as is. It's not the end of the world if they don't explain who these guys are. I'm just saying it couldn't hurt. It might actually increase the fucking viewership, too, you know, going from there. But, you know,
it's kind of like when fucking Two Cold Scorpios showed up in WWE and they didn't fucking say anything about him.
Yeah, and they tried to change his gimmick to Flash Funk. Yeah.
It's like when I say this a lot to people. I go, I wouldn't, if I was to go to WWE and have a wrestling match with someone like fucking Seth Rollins, I don't want to fight Seth Rollins.
Right.
I want to go after Tyler Black and have that history.
Like, and that's another thing, is like, you know, we're going to be doing, you know, background pieces on all of our guys for the most part.
Yep.
Like, that's how we're going to be doing. Like we did, that's why we created the Off the Books series for WYW, and that's why we've, you know, we're going to be doing promo packages for these characters that we're bringing in. So it's like, okay, here's a little snippet of what these guys are about and what they do. You know what I mean? So that way they're kind of aware of who these guys are in like a short minute or two. Because this is like, you know, educate your audience. I believe that, you know, because they're not going to know who these guys are. You might as well educate them. Like, even if it's a new character and you've never seen him before, educate the backstory. Make up a fucking backstory. Like, if you have a new character and you want to make up a backstory, make up a fucking backstory. You know? The only people you really shouldn't make a backstory for is a guy like Wardlow. Because I like the idea that Wardlow doesn't reveal much. But, still, you know? I don't know. It's just like, there are criticisms that you can have for AEW, and you can have a civil debate about them, but you don't have to just fucking piss all over everybody's Cheerios for them enjoying the product.
Which one of you motherfuckers keeps pissing in motherfucking Cheerios?
Exactly.
Which one of you motherfuckers keeps pissing in my goddamn Cheerios?
Exactly.
I don't like that.
I think we've talked for close to over an hour now, so we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're actually gonna probably talk about the positivity of the IWC. Then we'll take a second break, and then we'll have like a moral of the story after the fact, and then we'll go to the outro and our plug.
Moral of the story: just don't join the fucking IWC.
Well, you know,
keep your goddamn opinions to yourself, you fucking heart.
Well, we'll get to that. Because you know what, there are people that I'm sure don't claim they're a part of the IWC, but you know. We'll come back to it after break, but Nikos, why don't you lead us into the break? Say something break worthy.
Sure thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking a quick commercial break, but please don't go anywhere. We got a couple of topics that we will go in fully depth once we come back. So for now, just sit back and enjoy some nice, good old-fashioned YouTube algorithm advertisements.
Do you think you have what it takes to cut the greatest promo in professional wrestling history? Step through the ropes, pick a gimmick, and know your role. The Ring Scoops Wrestling card game is the ultimate pro wrestling fan party game. Draw cards at random, use your creativity, and cut a promo on your opponent while the audience cheers. The Ring Scoops card game.
Available now. If you like the content that you saw today, make sure you check out For the Win Productions and subscribe to the affiliates of this conglomerate. A Simple Man Studios, Insanity Works Studios, Genele's Beauty Slam, J. Hebert Studios, Wrestling Fortune 44 Incorporated, Owen the Talkinator Studios, and of course, Weymouth Youth Wrestling. All in the J. JhebertSide95 modules. Subscribe today. Alright, Nikos, we're back.
Alright, excellent. Welcome back. I hope that YouTube algorithmic advertisements didn't give you too much of a headache. But hey, that's what the skip ahead button is for.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, we're here to continue to talk about what's been going on in the IWC and why they're giving us so darn problems. But hey, amidst the problems, we can also find the goods.
So, while I somewhat agree with Mike's idea and philosophy on not wanting to be a part of the IWC, my theory is this: if you have an internet connection and you like wrestling, you're a part of the IWC by default. So, with that said, I think there are people that are a part of the IWC, or at least a part of the community in general, that do a lot of good as well. So, for the next half of this podcast, we're actually going to talk about the good people in the internet wrestling community. Let's just start out with the fucking obvious right away. Let's talk about the new Legacy Inc. boys, huh? Some of the... I mean, it's funny because they have done probably more charitable work than I have seen any wrestling community do. And I'm not saying that there haven't been, communities like and YouTube channels and whatever that have done stuff for the community as well. I know that Brian Zane has done a few, but not even to the level of New Legacy. I don't even think it's close. The Royal Rumble-thon from like a couple years ago was an entire charitable event, and it went over 12 hours.
A couple years ago, they're still doing. They just did the Rumble-thon.
Yeah, but that wasn't for charity. That was just for fun that time around.
No, of course, but still, they just did it like a couple months ago.
But I mean, even just in general, it's like the charitable work that they do is fucking off the chain. I mean, I don't think that's. I think that's indisputable how much they've done. In general as well, just they're always a good time. They're laughing, they're playing games, they're chilling, you know what I mean? Like they're fun to watch. They're not fucking shitting on people for opinions, they have funny jokes. They don't take anything too seriously. I think New Legacy might be the best, honestly. And by extension, Deadlock. Just the Deadlock community as a whole is fucking pretty chill, I would say. Is that safe to say?
No, absolutely.
What were you saying, Mike?
Nothing to do.
Okay, so we're just gonna agree that New Legacy is good. we're not gonna have a discussion about their content.
I mean, I haven't heard anything negative about their content.
Yeah.
You want a discussion about how they make memes? That's it.
Yeah, they do. It's good. It's good memes.
Good. I already talked about it, so there's no point in me discussing it. It's right there. Just said it.
It's true. I guess there really is not much we can really discuss on it.
If you want to watch something that's fucking hilarious, whether you like professional wrestling or not, watch New Legacy Inc. Watch all the content creators that put their fucking time and effort into New Legacy Inc. They're all very good channels that make some very good shit. I know one of them started the No DQ CAW Vault.
Yes, LT did.
LT.
That's super cool, man. Like, just preserving that history is really cool.
Of course.
Here's one for you.
Oh, really? It's for me?
Well, I mean, yeah. It's for all of us.
See? You're a liar.
I think the most unsung...
And you're ugly, like your mom.
The most unsung hero... Thanks. See, this is so positive, guys. So positive. No,
you're not just stupid, and you're ugly.
And your mama dresses you funny.
One of the most... I think the unsung hero of New Legacy, as far as positivity goes, absolutely has to go to the guy who does all the impressions. I believe. Why am I fucking blanking on names today? What the fuck, dude?
Maybe you need a nap, James.
Bro, I just got up a fucking.
Another
I had
one?
14 hours of
Another
sleep.
one?
No,
Another nap.
I don't need a nap. I'm just fucking bullshit at myself that it keeps happening.
Maybe if you stop fucking sleeping all day, cunt.
Yeah, that probably has a lot to do with it. And I feel so bad. Because I swear to God, am I having like amnesia problems? Because he fucking shouted out my video as well. Like I actually feel really bad.
Oh, that's even worse.
I feel really fucking bad. Here, you know what? I'll just.
You're terrible.
I'm a terrible human being. Apparently, hold on. I'll be able to go by this video. So just give me one moment. You might hear the backdrop. I think it's the most stream he's ever had. He's still. I'm on Dino. That's his name, Dino. I just remembered. So Dino is the most unsung hero, positively. There we go. Dino, has done just in general is a kind soul, you know, and it's funny because he used to be a former pro wrestler, and the business didn't fucking make him jaded, and he's such a fun guy. Like, I remember the stream that he ended up getting, like, that Pulse ended up rating him on. He was just making fucking belts, on 2K22, and his fans were helping him out. And so he just got it, and he's, like, fucking laughing. He's like, enjoy! Now you're getting to see some belt making action. And then he plugs my DPW Fire intro that I made. And that was cool. But in general, like, the dude just makes you fucking laugh, because he's the guy, Mike, that does the Ric Flair impressions. Do you know?
Okay.
So he did the Ric Flair one. He did an Orton impression, a Foley impression. I know he's got the best Van Damme impression out of anybody. He's the dude that does he's the one that does like the fucking typical Rob whatever cool impression every time he's on a stream. So Dino's probably the most unsung hero when it comes to positivity, I think. So, shout out Dino real quick.
Dino, you're not a dinosaur.
He is not a dinosaur, as far as I know. I could be wrong though. I have to double check with him. I'll DM him after this podcast. Another unsung hero that I feel like does not get nearly enough credit for being a positive force in the landscape of pro wrestling when it comes to online discussion is Noah. Like, even though he's on our side pretty much, he's in this big thing that we do, I don't think I've seen a more positive person about wrestling than Noah. Just the way he talks about it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I agree.
I think just what was his catchphrase? Enjoy life and enjoy wrestling.
I always thought his catchphrase was, "I'm just a simple man."
Well, I mean, yeah, he has a lot of catchphrases. He has a whole fucking closer, but yeah, it's a part of his whole closer. I like Noah, man. Like, he's just always a positive guy. He's not a fucking, and in this fucking community, you need guys like that. I think a lot of people think sometimes it could be too overly positive, and I'm like, I'd rather a guy who's overly positive than overly negative. And I don't even think, and even then, like, Noah's had his criticisms about certain things in the past, but he's really good at not letting the industry make him jaded and like not having just one type of wrestling he likes, and just he likes wrestling. That's it. It's like he's a dude who likes wrestling, and that's it. He's a simple man. It doesn't take much to please him. So I appreciate Noah. So shout out Noah Foster. Who else?
Yay, Noah.
Who else we got? Anybody that you guys know besides New Legacy, besides Noah, that we could talk about who is a positive force in the industry?
A-Train.
So,
Oh yeah, King
I
A.
would say
A-Train from ATW. Yeah, fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. I like A-Train.
You got not a cool guy. Eric too.
he looks a little different. Last time I saw A-Train, he was a white guy with like facial piercings. Now he's a black guy, and it was real weird.
I mean,
I'm like, wait a second.
Well, I mean,
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
well, I mean, his name is Anthony, so I guess I don't know. I mean, A-Train.
Spoilers.
His name is Anthony, so there you go. That's why he calls himself the A-Train.
Why are you spoiling it? Why you like this?
I don't know.
Who hurt you?
Why are you spoiling? Stop spoiling.
Stop spoiling.
Spoiling you fuck.
Yeah, man. Like, I would say Brian Zane's.
Yeah, man, he agreed with me.
I'd say Brian Zane is positive.
Except Brian Zane, I will be honest.
I mean, he's done criticisms in the past, the top 8 things, for example, but like lately he's been very positive, I would say. And I guess he's, I guess you disagree somewhat, but I don't know.
I'm just not a fan of his content, but that's
fair enough. I know at least he's positive. You know what I mean? He's not a fucking. I think his catchphrase is.
I'm just not a fan of his content.
Every review that he does, he always says, "Like what you like, don't be a dick." And I'm like, yeah, sounds about right.
I want to be a dick.
I loved his video on Cornet. I mean, that video was fucking great. Nikos and I watched it on the fucking Jim Cornette podcast we did, and by the end of it, he was pretty much promoting positivity and to stop being a dick about certain wrestling that you like. Like I love that video he did. Let's see who else we got that's positive. That's a positive force in the industry. I feel, who I feel like doesn't get enough fucking love because they run a fucking news and rumors site. Sean Ross Sapp and the Fightful community, I don't think gets enough of a good rep because again of what they do. But like they do a lot of like charity stuff as well. Like they and by extension the Wrestle Talk boys, like he's helped out Adam Blompied in like doing charitable organizations for like cancer and whatnot. That whole Quizzlemania crew that happens, I don't even know how many times, but they're pretty good. I like them. I like Wrestle Talk. I like Parts of Unknown, and I like Sean Ross Sapp and the stuff that he does because usually it's pretty positive there. But I feel like he always gets a bad rep, Sean Ross Sapp, because he runs a news and rumors site, and lately that's been death for anybody that, that's been death for people, unfortunately, because if you run a news and rumors site, you just immediately get lumped in as you're a piece of shit, even though you're not. I'd say Koozie Coos is a pretty positive force.
Don't call him that. He hates that.
Please.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fucking, that was a shady thing, wasn't it?
He hates it.
Fucking Kuzan. He's a positive guy. I like Kuzan, just generally not giving a shit about.
Do you want to kiss him?
No. No, you do, though.
You bet your ass.
Exactly. There you go.
What, giving me shit during Pride Month? Yeah, you look really big, don't you?
I guess that's not a great idea. Hammers is pretty positive as well in regards. Like, as I said, there's people that are nice, in the community that I feel like, because there's so much shit that I feel like the good in people that are a part of the community get kind of overshadowed. And I'm just like,
It's a real simple concept. Just don't be a dick. It's not that fucking hard, folks. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Like, how many times do I have to teach you these lessons, old man? Gotta be nice. Live in a nice era. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really not that hard, though. It's like, I get it, but like, if somebody's enjoying a product, I get it. Like, listen, I have my issues with the WWE. That is a list that one day maybe I'll do. But, you know, I'm not gonna fucking sit there and play armchair psychologist or whatever with someone that's like, yeah, I really like the Fed. I'm like, okay, I disagree, but you do whatever the fuck you want. Just, you know, if you don't know, you probably should know that they're kind of fucked up.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Right.
Bitch.
Mark.
I just don't like the idea that, you know, the idea of we must shit on the competition. Like, let the competition be.
Oh, no, I'm going to shit on WWE no matter what.
No, I get that. I get as far as how corporately it's run, yes. And
yeah, when it comes to how their athletes are, it's a completely different story. It's like, listen, I don't like being I don't like this tribal chief thing. I think it's kind of lame. But hey, the guy's getting paid. That's all that fucking matters.
Right.
But corporately, that's a corporate decision, not a him decision.
Right. And even then, it's like he's made it work. Cool, he's successful with it. Finally, you know, cool. I'm glad because that dude's gotten shit for a long time. In some cases, unjustified because he wasn't the one that booked the shit that he was forced to be a part of. You know, like if you have a problem with something, yes, criticize the booker, and not even criticize the booker, but criticize the fucking people that just kind of shove the idea down everybody's throats.
You don't attack. Listen, you don't attack the guy that works at 7-Eleven. You attack his fucking boss, and if that doesn't work, you attack his boss's boss.
Yeah.
You go up because it makes more sense.
You know, people. Here's another thing. I appreciate that in WWE as well, the workers are doing their best to still entertain. Now, granted, they're also making a lot of money, so that might be an incentive, but they are doing their best. And this might be a little sub-tangent, but it's like, I wish more companies would be like that, where, you know, even though they're put into shit, they're trying to make the customer's fucking day better by not, you know, fucking up certain things. The fast food industry. But, you know.
This podcast was brought to you by Burger Bing.
Burger Bing. Burberkerg. Subby free. No, but yeah, I just, you know, I don't like the wrestlers are trying their ass off with the shit they're given, you know. So yeah. As long as they're doing that,
lot of shit.
I'm not gonna have a problem with the fucking workers. I just won't. I have a problem with the corporate structure in that company and always will, because the corporate structure is what's killing the morale of the company. I can't say that about AEW because most of it's positive. You know, they're having a great time. They're doing what they need to do. They've had things they needed to do that they need to work on, but at the end of the day, they're doing good. And who's to say what the hell is going to happen on Dynamite tonight, which, by the way, newsflash, originally was going to be streamed. Now this is going to be, you know, premiering after AEW. So there's that. So yeah, I don't know, people. As Mike said, like what you like, don't be a dick. All right, stop being a dick about it, and don't wish harm about the company.
All right, that's the. Can we talk about the fucking? I know that we're on the positive topic, but something that really does fucking grind my gears.
Go ahead.
A lot, like a lot. It's these fucking marks that get to the point where they're not only threatening violence onto the wrestler, But the fact that the word "I will fucking kill you if you leave this company," bro, you need to like relook at your
Yes.
entire life.
Yes. Yes.
Like, you are the problem with professional wrestling fans as a whole.
You know what? Go back to part 1 and see Mike's fucking comments on Daniel Bryan's comment section and how toxic that was.
Like, I don't get, like, I just don't get it, bro. I don't.
I don't
Like,
either.
it's something that I've been thinking about for a while now, because I'm also reading stuff while I'm doing the podcast. And it's just, like, over the course of, like, decades, it's like, back in the day, you know, Ric Flair would have, like, a gun pulled on him or something. And it's like, what the fuck?
Right. And I'm glad, and again, I talked about it on the JHebertSide side with Nikos. Kayfabe's dead, let it be dead. If you want
Like,
wrestling...
Kayfabe's been dead. Kayfabe has been dead. When was it? Michaels, Hunter, Diesel, and Ramon all hugged each other in the middle of the ring at MGS.
Well, even
That's
then...
when you know that Kayfabe was broken.
Well, even then... You can still maintain kayfabe and people understand that they're playing a character. MJF is a prime example. People like that he's in character all the time. But nowadays, people aren't going to kill him because he's being in character. And anybody that's going to try to do that needs to get the fuck off the premises. That's the general idea of it now. As it should be. It's done.
I mean, the veil of kayfabe has to be lifted a little bit so we can prevent more, crowds storming into the ring to attack the wrestlers,
or just people in general. Yeah.
Like, what moron are you to do that? What gives you the right for you to buy a ticket with your cold hard cash to just, you know what? I'm gonna get a couple clicks in. Storm the ring, attack the wrestlers because I either hate them or I'm jealous of them or they're not doing the storyline I want to, so I'm just putting them out of commission.
Yeah, exactly. And the sad part is it'd be a lot worse.
Mentality do you have?
And the sad part is it would be a lot worse if they keep this facade up that this shit was still real. And I'm glad that people understand that it's entertainment. You know, it's not real, and it shouldn't be treated. It should be treated as it is. They are putting their bodies on the line, and you know it does hurt, and people believe that everything can hurt. But nobody should believe that the storyline is real. Nobody should then believe that they have the right to then attack somebody for any reason in the wrestling industry. I'm glad we're past those days from the 80s and 90s. You know, I'm glad. Leave the memories alone. Those are the past. Let it die. You know?
Like, you assume that they were the good memories?
Right.
Like, really, dude?
Sometimes they weren't good, you know? Like, dude, when Cornette wears the fucking idea that, oh, I was a bad guy and I would get stabbed, or I would almost get stabbed and I had to really protect myself, and he was like laughing about it like that was great. Like that's fucking outrageous.
Some guy came out of nowhere with a fucking knife and tried to kill me.
Like, that's not something to be proud of.
That shit rude. It's like, what is wrong with you?
I'm glad we're not in those times anymore. I'm glad we can, you know, when I was a kid, I believed it was real until I was like fucking 13, you know? And then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, and even then...
James, as an adult, still believes that Santa Claus is real. I mean, oh shit, James, I'm sorry.
No, I know my parents.
Like, I'm just gonna say this.
Okay.
Last week, my dad's friend told me that, oh, did you hear that CM Punk is gonna be dropping the title for G? And I'm just sitting there going, of all people, my dad's friend watches wrestling. which is kind of bizarre because I didn't think anyone at this age would still watch it. And then he says, listen, whether it's in sports, whether it's in movies, whether it's in shows, whether it's in professional wrestling, it's all choreographed. It's not supposed to be real. It's supposed to be like a way to escape the hard truth of reality, but it's supposed to keep you entertained nonetheless.
Exactly.
I think that was the lesson he was giving me, and that's the lesson that people in the IWC should take notice of.
It's the lesson he was giving me. And I'm going to be honest, he's such a fucking idiot, I didn't even want to listen to him. Like, I'm going to be up front. He says that pro wrestling isn't real. Yeah, well, you try taking a back body drop, bitch.
Oh, you know what?
See you do it, dumbass.
You know what? It looks like we're going to go to the moral of the story here. So before we do that, Nikos, bring us to the last break, and then we'll come back and give the moral of the story.
Moral of the story is that Nikos' dad's friend is a fucking idiot.
Oh, besides that.
I'm not quite sure how to put this, and I don't mean to offend you, but this isn't politically correct. But the fact that you take the story out of context here and saying that I'm a fucking liar, you know, I think that makes you
a fucking liar.
God damn it. All right, Nikos, bring us to break.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. We're going to be taking our final commercial break, but please don't go anywhere. We will be right back shortly talking about the moral of this whole story. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Hibiki TMD on YouTube, retro gaming, pro wrestling, podcast, Terry Bollea, Hibiki Honors, Hibiki Quickie, everything in between. Hit that subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD. And hey! Watch out for pedestrians, pal. You on the bike. Slow down. Hit that subscribe down below. Check us out at the Hibiki TMD on Twitter, Hibiki TMD on YouTube. Oh, the goddamn goodness.
A table from hell with the Psycho Asylum. An Iron Man match of factorial proportions. Man.
In this fight, I will melt you down to slag.
Versus machine.
I calculate a 0.85% chance that you will win in your current condition.
All metal mayhem. Colleen Horizon.
When you throw me into the wolves, I will return leading the pack.
Vera McGarden.
And I'll do anything to be the warrior on top.
For the Athena title. Best friends turned bitter rivals. Johnny Star.
Don't get in the way of the star or you'll get burned.
James, the Archangel.
I'm the real star of this brand.
For the international title. The Outsider, Mark Young. The Executioner, Michael X. For the WYW World Heavyweight title. 2 out of 3 fall.
Inside.
In a hell in a cell. WYW Immortal. Now available on YouTube.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Open Mic Night. We're here to talk about the final discussion about the IWC and what y'all can learn from this, so you can not be such toxic marks that we see and hear today. I'm sure that none of you are, but if you aren't, hey, good on you. You got our thumbs up of respect. I'm raising my thumb up now. May not see it, but it's there.
Exactly. So what do we think the moral of the story is? Is it as simple as like what you like, don't be a dick, or is it more complex than that?
I think it's just the fact that you just gotta like do two things. One, respect what other people enjoy and not force the narrative down your throats. And two, don't take it too personal. If people say, oh, you should stop watching this, it's not that interesting or derivative.
Right,
like,
exactly. You know?
Like, dude, who
Unless
cares?
it's Ring of Honor, then it fucking sucks. I'm joking.
Oh no. That
But I
again.
think
Oh man, what a fucking jungle gym of self marks that company with.
But I think the biggest takeaway is don't get to the point where you're just so like into the program of what you're watching that you resemble everything that the show is telling you not to become.
Yep.
And to the point where if you've descended to that area where you are now being this toxic, Nurgle infested, like disgusting embodiments of what the IWC expects you to do, and you just start attacking people, both wrestlers, both bookers, companies, then yeah, you're just not in it for the ride. You're there for like a movement.
Yeah.
A movement of, like a movement of you want people to direct a show, create a program of how you want to do it, when not everything has to go your way.
Yep.
The fact that you find this entertaining, that's great, good for you. But please, don't get into the hype of it to the point where you're just like you're just gonna smash everyone that doesn't share your beliefs of what their favorite is.
Mm-hmm.
Just take it for what it is. Like, please, enough with the toxicity, enough with the bashing, enough with the complaining. Please, if you find something that you feel like disheartening or like you feel angry about, move on to something else.
Exactly.
We need more positivity. What we don't need is more, 36-year-old fat boys with receding hairlines talking shit about.
Hey, I'm a 35-year-old fat boy, but my hairline is receding. I find that fucking offensive, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, go to the gym then.
God damn.
How fucking dare you? Keep your nose out of my business. I know that's hard for you to do, but keep your nose out of my business.
Mine has no reach.
But anyway, I'm with you. Be positive and less negative. It doesn't go your way all the time. As long as you're okay with that, you'll be fine. Right?
Like, if you're at the point of just threatening death upon someone just because they don't share your belief, really take a look at yourself and realize, yeah, I may have gotten too far in a couple areas.
Mm-hmm.
I should just give up altogether.
And if you are, I will find you. I will look at you dead in the face, and I will say, "Hey, look, Lydian, look what I found. Look what I found. A stupid cunt." And then I'll run away.
Oh my god.
Stupid cunt.
Oh my god, there we go. If I had AdSense on, we'd be demonetized, but it's okay. Because I'm not monetized.
Who cares? What is you gonna tell me? Oh, you said bad words that the whole internet says.
Yeah. So
you say bad words.
So what you guys got next for open mic night? You wanna preview? Want to preview what you guys may have planned and in store now that I won't be on going forward?
Well, I don't know. That depends if you're going to be recording on that day.
I will be recording on
it. It depends. Are you going to be taking a nap that day?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next year on open mic night.
No. It will be in 2 weeks. So what do you got planned in 2 weeks? What's the topic you guys got in mind?
Well, I got one.
Go.
I want to hear Nikos.
Go for it.
Oh well, let's hear yours.
Okay.
What?
I guess Mike, you go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's time for a death battle. Oh wait, hold on.
Whoa.
It looks like we're gonna have time for a death battle.
Oh no. You're gonna be reviewing a death battle?
Oh, buddy. We're gonna be talking about how that shit don't work.
Yeah.
You know what? This is an interesting point. You want to talk about just how death battle is just irrelevant now?
It's not that it's irrelevant. It's more the fact that they have lost all creative, like, ideals very quickly.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Nikos, what do you got? What do you got for open mic night? What's your topic?
I'm going to space.
I honestly don't have a topic for now, but maybe in the coming days I might have a topic.
Well, either way.
What he says is, I have no fucking idea.
Well, either way, we know what the next topic is going to be, and in 2 weeks from now, it's going to be how Death Battle has fallen off. So if you guys are interested in that, we'll be covering that on 2 weeks from now. So be on the lookout. Make sure you hit that post notification bell on. I will not be here this time. It will be back to just straight up Mike and Mike. So there you go.
Thank fucking God. Jesus,
yeah, we didn't need your business anyway.
Yeah, I'm kind of... I only was
here.
Yeah,
remind me to go onto the AKA Jeff Meacham network and tell him I want that fucking piece of shit to stop using my fucking name and license.
Hey, he didn't use your name and license. He does it with MIC. He does it with MIC.
Open mic night, more like open. I'm about to fight. I swear to God.
Hey, listen. It all works because
I will whoop that motherfucker's ass.
We accidentally took the watch along concept from Jeff, so it's okay.
No, that's not. No,
you know what? You know what? I found my topic for the next 2 weeks. Copyright infringements.
Oh, no! No, leave him alone.
Jeff, I'm coming for you. Levette, it's the animal.
Oh my God! All right.
I'm
so that's.
I will show you the fury of God's might.
So anyway, what do you guys want? Close out the podcast, Nikos, and then we'll get to the outro bit here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you once again for joining us for another open mic night. Sorry that it took so long for us to upload anything, but sometimes alarm clocks work and sometimes they don't. And sometimes software engineering is not our strongest suit, especially if one of us is asleep. But hey, we're all human at the end of the day.
Fuck up.
Come on, it's true.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you're interested to see any more content on the J Hebert side, just take a look at the description down below. You got to see a plethora of what we got, including Indie Force. Let's see.
Indie Force content review. Open mic night, and soon to debut the Don DeMarco show.
Yes. And one more thing before we.
It's a rap. It's a rap breakdown show that Anthony and I wanted to start up. Anyway, continue, Nico. Sorry.
Aha.
Yes.
And one more thing before we like to close out. If you'd like to view what we've been doing on WEYW, you can check out the link in the description on the Gold Rush tournament leading into Immortal. And a quick update for those of you wondering, what's the deal with WEYW? We are currently on a small hiatus. It won't be long. We should be starting up production starting next week. And we are, and I can't stress it enough, 7 months into the first year.
Yes.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are nearly there. So please give us more time. We are nearly breaking through to the nitty-gritty of this whole shebang. And we will send you more updates on what's going on. But for now, all we can say is we're 7 months in, and things have been bonkers in a good way. But I'm Mike Nikos. Them two over there.
Michael X.
And Michael X. And James Hebert. And all the other goodness. And we shall see you next time on Open Mic Night. Take care, everyone.